What's going on, football fans? It's me, J.R. Clark, back again with another Pound for Pound ATL. Joined as always by my two co-hosts, Jonathan Holder and Toby D. Gentlemen, how are y'all doing today?
Oh man, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling great. Despite a loss, I'm still feeling good. I believe we got a chance to redeem ourselves against Tampa this week.
Yeah. It's
Yep.
I think it's going to be. It's not. I mean, it isn't going to be a pushover. They got a real good defense, and their offense has been, um, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Like enigmatic, maybe, or Jekyll and Hyde-ish almost. Well, a lot like Washington. So I don't think it's going to be an easy task, but I think that it will definitely be one that I think we can handle.
They've definitely the Buccaneers have surprised me this year. I thought they'd be good on defense, maybe not quite as good as they're playing this year. I didn't think they were going to be anything on offense, to be completely honest. But
Me
you know,
too. Yeah.
Yeah, that is. Ooh, good lord, everything got real high that time. Anyway, all right. So we tried to do our look around the league. That didn't necessarily uh, didn't seem like y'all cared too much about that in a sense. So, uh, as always, our first and foremost deal is to try to bring y'all content that y'all are going to enjoy. And so, we're going to try something a little different today. We're going to take a look at two plays from this past week. We're going to take a look at Calais Campbell's 100th sack because I thought that was really cool that he finally got that. And then we're going to take a look at Kyle Pitts' touchdown. So before we get into Calais Campbell's sack, I just kind of want to shout out the job that Ryan Nielsen is doing here in Atlanta.
Mhm.
Um, we already have two more QB hurries than we had all of last year, which is crazy to think.
Yep.
Um, Pressure wise, we are ninth in the league so far, bringing almost 30% pressures, uh, which is like we've got a total of 60 so far this year, where we had only 88 last year.
Yep.
And then QB knockdowns, we're tied for second in QB knockdowns with 25, with only a total of 44 last year. So, yes, we may not be seeing. Now, this past game, obviously, we got 5 sacks, so that was great. But I know up to this point, we haven't seen like an explosion of sacks. But
Hmm.
it's, as we always say, it's not always the sack. I mean, we are definitely affecting
Yes.
the
Yes.
quarterback, and
Hmm.
so I just kind of want to bring light to that because Nielsen has been doing a really good job with his pressure packages and things of that nature.
Yep. You've always got to you've got to affect the quarterback in some way, shape, or form. So the stats are the flashy stat of that effect,
Yeah,
right? That's
Yeah.
the thing that you see it, everybody knows it. Nobody has to tell you what it is. You see it. That's what it is,
right,
Hmm.
and so everybody says, well, if you're not getting sacks, you're not getting pressure on the quarterback, and that's just flat not true.
right.
It's just harder to quantify if you don't know what you're looking. If you're just a casual
Hmm.
fan that doesn't really know what they're looking at.
Yeah, the friend of the show, Joe Patrick, tweeted out another account called Absolutely Tim, who had put all these stats together, and I thought that was really interesting. And the fact that we were going to talk about Calais Campbell's sack, I felt like this would be a great time to bring up the fact that they are getting some pressures. They are affecting the quarterback,
Yeah.
which reminds me, back in the day where Mike Smith used to say, like, I don't care about sacks. I just want to move I want to get the quarterback off the spot, so to
Right.
speak, and affect his passing. But anyway, let's take a look at Calais Campbell's 100 sack. So starts out, I really like the way they got it set up. You on the field, you have 5 men on the line of scrimmage. You have um, two of your arguably your best pass rushers, in my opinion, with Bud Dupree and Arnold Ebiketie. Both of those guys are out wide in what would be like a wide nine, type setup there. Then you have Caden Ellis occupying the four tech gap with Grady Jarrett, as Toby reminded me, is in the 2I gap, and then Calais Campbell in the straight up and down 4. He's head up on the right tackle there.
Yep.
Uh, what I really like seeing when I watched this play was how something that Toby had brought up on the show on Tuesday, that these guys are starting to get a little bit more in sync. So Toby, I want you to talk on that here in a second, but I want to show y'all. I'm going to go hit play and keep an eye on Grady Jarrett and Calais Campbell. So here we go. Toby, you want to describe what you're seeing there?
Beautiful, beautiful. I mean, the attacking the inside. What you saw Calais Campbell, which I love, he's up on the tackle and he's making the tackle think that he's going to attack the tackle. But all in all, it's Ebiketie that's going to end up attacking the tackle. And I love the way that they just him and Grady attack the middle presence of that center and that guard in order to get to the quarterback. Now, what's more important is what we got to talk about here is because we built up that secondary that ended up really being ultimately a coverage sack
Right.
for Calais Campbell to get that 100 sack that he got, because the coverage on the back end deserves a lot of credit for helping that. But you need that relentless nature of guys where you don't have to really necessarily focus on moves per se, but you got to have guys that have a relentless nature to still fight to get to the quarterback. What you see Calais Campbell do to get his 100 sack for the season.
Right. And as we continue to play, I'll kind of do this in a little bit of a slower motion so you can see what's going on here. You got
nice being around there.
Yeah, you got Ebiketie bending under. Same thing with Bud Dupree on the other side. When when Ellis, goes out with the back, that allows, or I say allows, that causes a double team on Grady. But Grady can he's occupying the center and the left guard and doing a real good job of it.
Real good.
And then, Calais is setting up his guard. You see that right there? He's throwing him into the the back of the center there. Which is causing, like, I guess when Sam Howell sees that, he's like, "Oh, I got to go."
Yeah. What I
And
love about that.
What you see is, like, as this play unfolds, the hole that Sam Howell is trying to get to starts to open up. And because they've all so far, both Calais and Grady have crashed to the left of the offensive line.
right.
They have crashed that way. You've got Ebiketie coming around the edge, and it does open up that running lane for him to escape out of initially. But then, yeah, like you said, you get Calais Campbell, who he understands that's exactly what's going to happen, and so he sets him up inside. Then he clubs him outside, throws him off, and is able to come out here and get his sack.
And see, that's a veteran move, because
right.
they set it up on purpose, knowing that he would be tempted to take that hold, and Calais was already ready for him to do it. And he's got the length and the size to be able to,
Explode back.
take up all that space, to keep Sam Howell from breaking out free.
Yep. And then
look at that. Whew.
There he is.
Lord, Jesus. See, Lymph got that sack right there, because nobody else would have been able to do that except somebody of his height and strength to do it.
Now, my curiosity, or like, so say he's for whatever able to kick out, so to speak, like, I don't think he's going to gain much yardage, because you got Bud Dupree, like, has fully, rounded the circuit.
Yeah.
And is coming free on this other end as well. So you see, right there.
I think it depends on what he was planning to do. Was he planning? Now, I'm guessing that if Calais doesn't, excuse me, if Calais doesn't bring him down, then he's got a lot of green grass here. So I'm assuming he's going to run for it.
Oh yeah.
He's gone.
Now, if he decided, like, I'm going to escape out of here and continue to look downfield, because he's a young quarterback still, and one of the things they are probably preaching to him constantly is like, hey, I'll try to keep your eyes up, try to keep your eyes down the field. So if he decides that he wants to do that here, then yeah, Dupree's going to catch him. I'm not sure if Dupree catches him if he just bolts
Oh yeah, if he
and
just
goes.
takes off and runs, I mean, I don't know if
Yeah,
he catches him for a sack, but he may catch him
Yeah.
for a shorter gain,
yeah,
type deal. But big man gets his hands on him, and then down goes
Hmm.
Howell for the 100th sack. But
yep,
what I want to go back to is just something that I absolutely love seeing is watching Grady just cross the center's face, hit him with that swim move, and say in this particular instance, because we've seen it before, if they would have sent Ellis, to where he didn't have a double team, like that was it was a good move. He was starting to already
Yeah.
get a so like it's just he's so quick with
Yeah.
that. With that
Yeah. See. Yeah.
that
Uh-huh.
swim rip. I mean, he's
Hmm.
just looks so good doing that.
yep,
But it made so much sense what Caden Ellis did because he took away the hot read.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
see that high out route, that zero route, he took it away. So Sam Howell couldn't go there. So they had a two-way goal on Sam Howell. It was a great play design in the pass rush to set up what looked like a hole initially. If he tried to escape, take away the hot read. If he tried to get to the hot read, he wasn't able to do either one. So his only choice was to try to run with the football. And unfortunately for him, Calais knew that was happening
Right.
and took
yep.
it down.
I mean, like and
I
like
love
you,
it.
yeah, like you pointed out earlier. I mean, that's a coverage sack, and that's a sack because Calais Campbell's 6'7". You know
Right.
what I mean?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
he's a mile
That
long. You
part.
know what I'm saying?
Yes,
That
Like
part.
I don't
Yeah.
know, but we had 5 sacks on the game. I think Grady had a sack on there as
Hmm.
well. Um,
I think he may
It
have
was
gotten
like a
like
half a sack, something.
there was
Yeah.
yeah,
like four people that got half a sack on one play. I
Yeah.
think.
yeah. Yeah, because it was the whole party converged,
But
but
yeah.
what you were starting to see is like these stunts and pressures. We've had a pretty high stunt rate when it comes to passing, against league average, and the stunt rates. These things are, as you alluded to earlier, are starting to get home with some of
Hmm.
these. I was trying to see if I could pull up.
Well,
I'm gonna type.
so
Go ahead.
far, like this is working out really well. Those stunts, even when they're not getting home, which up to this past game, they had trouble getting to the quarterback, like actually finishing out that sack.
Yeah.
But even then, to through this past weekend's games and Monday night's games. The Falcons are number 4 in the league at 179.2 yards a game in the passing game.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
like and in this game, the Washington the commies, didn't have I think Howell had something like 115 yards through the air. So like, and we're like number 11 with not just under 100 yards a game rush defense. So
Wow.
like this defense is playing at a high level right now. And it is as a long suffering Falcons fan, seeing a defense that you're not terrified with. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. At the end of a game, a minute could they give up a game winning drive? Absolutely, it could
Yeah,
happen.
sure. Yeah.
But I'm not. But I'm
Yeah.
not just like either terrified or just for up. We gave him too much time. I know how this
Right.
is
Yeah.
going to end.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't have that feeling anymore. So it's
Yeah.
awesome.
The way them last two games have played out for the defense, it was just a matter of time. And I'm just hoping now they can carry that over from these last two games against the Texans and now the Commanders. They can carry that over. Now we just need the offense
Right.
Well,
to find
I
themselves a little
think
more.
the biggest difference between defense and offense, and one reason why I think there's a better chance of the defense continuing to build on this than I think the offense has right now is the defense has a lot of vet
Yeah.
presence on
Yeah.
it. A
That
They've
part.
got
lot.
Yeah.
they've got a lot
Yeah.
more experience,
Hmm.
and you've got a
True.
lot more experience of high level play with
Right.
guys like Jesse Bates, with Grady Jarrett, with Calais Campbell. You have a lot more high level play. I wanted to quickly bring up when I was talking about the passing stunts. League average is 26.9% on passing stunts, and the Falcons are running right now 31.7 percent. So they're
Mm,
starting to get um, more in groove with that stunts. Not as much blitzing, which is interesting. You're still like league average of blitzing is 31.7%. The Falcons are blitzing at a 27.4% rate.
Yeah.
So a little lower on just the overall blitzing, but uh, they're using a lot more stunts to try to get home. I think the only team that is the team that's leading the league in stunts is the Jets, which is I take a brief second. I'm really enjoying watching Ulbrich like succeed up there with
yeah,
Oh
the.
yeah.
I really liked Jeff Ulbrich, but anyway, I'm glad to watch him get going. All right, but Toby alluded to earlier about a few minutes ago about the offense, and yes, we need the offense to get more in a rhythm and get um, start to produce more. I think these last two games, the Texans games and even the Commanders game, even though there were some rookie mistakes, and we talked about that on the Tuesday show, you saw some definite growth in the passing game,
hmm,
and the
yep,
touchdown to Kyle Pitts was a to me was a sign of that growth. Um, so I want to show that now. That's the offensive play we're going to talk about. So you initially load up, or you initially come out of the huddle, and you're in a 2-by-2 with one back set. Um, as we talked about earlier, you haven't seen as much pistol. You're seeing a lot more offset. Just your standard offset back, whether it's to the right or to the left. This time it's Tyler Algier to the left of Ritter, but we're still in 12 personnel. You got Michael Pruitt, and on the very outside, you have Kyle Pitts. Now, this year, as we alluded to in the offseason, you're seeing Pitts line up more wide and in the slot than you are in line like we were getting last year.
hmm,
Mhm.
Now, I don't know if it's a deal where, okay, we tried that last year. It didn't really work out so well. So now we're going back to what he did well as a rookie, which was slot and out wide. But I would love to know the actual reasoning, not the media driven coach speak reasoning, but I would love to know the actual reasoning,
yeah,
Uh, but
I would wonder if maybe there's a correlation in like not getting in there and blocking even if you don't do it a lot, but being more of a blocker in there with all the big bodies, there's much more of a risk of re-injuring the knee, puts more stress on it. Somebody might roll into your knee, into your
maybe,
legs, all that kinds of
yeah.
stuff, and this just takes that out of the equation a little
And I also wonder if like bringing Janu Smith back into the fold too,
bit.
for Arthur Smith takes that off of Pitts and allows him to be more of just a weapon, um, which is what we were hoping when we, signed Janu. So anyway, all right. So let's roll the play. We'll slow motion this thing at least one time. So you get Michael Pruitt goes into motion across the formation. Uh, Toby, you made the comment earlier um, that it appears that the Commanders are in quarters coverage. Something that you felt like they attacked pretty well last year.
oh yeah, we attacked that tremendously last year. You watch any of them games, the Seahawks game, you go and watch that when Drake London got a touchdown while they was in the quarters coverage there. And it was a 5 wide and they was all in the quarters coverage and he got the touchdown over there on the left side.
Hmm.
And then you saw it against Tampa Bay, where they ended up getting a touchdown off of that. If I'm not mistaken, the OZ in the quarters coverage, and they ended up getting a touchdown. And then you see another quarters coverage setup up in here now, they're playing off at first, and when we get to it, pre-snap they're playing off, it's still like a man, because they man up on the guy. But then post snap, they come up on Pitts,
Right.
and great read by Desmond Ritter to catch that as an advantage, because usually you're not going to get too many quarterbacks if they're still wet behind the ears that'll catch that post snap read with him coming up and playing tighter man coverage on Pitts, which was a disadvantage for him and an advantage for Pitts. And of course,
Right.
Ritter hits him in
And
stride.
what I like about this is if Ritter can get into layering throws like this, these are the kind of passes that Ryan was trying to get to Pitts, like in the back edge of the end zone, those higher, you know, level passes where only he can get it. But I mean, Ritter puts that thing right over uh the two defenders that
Mm-hmm.
so let's watch this one full speed. So it goes into motion. Well, also I really like having Drake and Pitts on the same side, especially down here in the goal line.
Right.
So that's something that we have seen with effectiveness last year. Now we're starting to see it again, which is good. So the guy comes up. Now here, like, part of me thought you could potentially hit Drake because this guy's eyes are still like in the in the backfield, but he peels off and goes with Drake, and the initial cornerback ends up like doubling with Pitts, which I thought was kind of interesting. So, but yeah, I loved the throw. The throw was exactly what you want to see.
Right.
Yeah.
Now on a play like that, you can't hesitate. And so this is why I love, if Ritter hesitates right there, the second defender on Pitts, he knocks that away. And so with him not hesitating and just letting it rip and trusting Pitts to catch it between those two guys, that's what makes the difference. Because that split second of hesitation, that play is dead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, well,
John,
and that's when it comes to the red zone, you gotta be decisive, right? You gotta when you see what you feel is the right throw, you got to do it. You don't have
Mm-hmm.
time. There's too many bodies. There's too much going on. When you feel like you've got your play, you've got to pull the cord on it.
Yeah.
And that's what, and I like that. That's what he did here. It's not. It doesn't look like this is a one thing we have. Uh, he even mentioned it in one of the press conferences this week. Uh, Not a situation where this is where I'm going no matter what. And we've seen that a couple times this year. That wasn't this. This was he saw what he wanted. He saw what was there and knew what kind of throw he had to make, and he made that decision quickly and put that ball exactly where it needed to be.
Mm-hmm.
The only guy that was going to catch it was going to be his guy.
mm-hmm.
Yep.
And
Yep.
what I like here is something I didn't necessarily notice to begin with, but this is almost like one of those RPO glance throws. Like you watch the action with Tyler, he pulls that thing out of Tyler's belly and lays it over the top. So you watch what and see he pulls that thing and lays it out. So that was something I didn't necessarily notice on the live shot, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
go ahead.
one thing I really like is if you watch it like you said, when you watch his head when he is putting that down, his head is to the left. He's probably also watching the defender out there to see what they do.
Yeah.
But on top of that, keeping his eyes to the left of the field doesn't key in anybody on the right side of the field where he's going. And this is
Mm-hmm.
something that again we've talked about before, where he would, I think maybe earlier, definitely last year, but potentially even earlier this season, that play right there, you would have seen him put it in there. But even before, like he would have brought his head up and was looking back before he started to pull that ball back,
Right.
and he would have been like looking for it to make let me make sure it's going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
But he's trusting the play. He's trusting his guys to be where they're supposed to be so that he can do the things before he gets to the throw to make sure that that throw is protected because you don't have guys cheating because they're reading your eyes.
Right.
Right.
And so that's the growth, right? That's the progression that you want to see, and we're starting to see it. We've seen it the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
Had some bumps in the road this week, but we're seeing him get better. The progressions are getting faster. The reads are getting faster. The recognition of the defenses are getting faster. Like all of that stuff is happening, and we're seeing it right in front of our eyes. And it's unfortunate that the mistakes happen, but we take 3 plays out of 47 attempts. But if you look at those other 44 attempts that he did that whole game, this one included, obviously, like the progress that he has made as a quarterback at the NFL level uh, is right there for you to see. And so we'll see if he can continue that.
Yeah.
Um,
That's the thing is like, and this is where, you know, I think somebody had an article with Matt Ryan talking about. I didn't have a chance to read it, but I did catch a quote about you wish you'd have seen him playing earlier last year, and so like that's the gripe in a sense is had he played earlier last year, maybe you would have worked all this stuff out, um, beforehand and been more ready to roll this year. But if he can get it worked out and where we're not, before we're too far behind the 8 ball, that could be, um, we could come out of this thing by the end of the season, like Toby said, like 10-7, 11-6, that kind of deal, possibly winning the NFC South or if not having a wild card berth and at least getting some, playoff experience, which would be, very beneficial.
yes.
But I think, but that's the 2 plays that we wanted to take a look at today. I think we'll be back, at least for the next few weeks, trying this format out, seeing if y'all like this and enjoy this. If there's a play from the Bucks game that you want to see, put it in the comments below. That
Yeah,
kind of deal. Try to pick some momentous plays. It's not always going to be a touchdown. It may be a long run, or it may be a good like pass breakup or interception or whatnot. But I figured the 100th sack of Calais Campbell was worth looking at, and then
absolutely.
anytime we can get Kyle Pitts a touchdown, I think that's
Yeah, it's always a good
definitely,
thing.
yeah, that's right, definitely worth looking at. So we appreciate y'all's tuning in with us. As always, y'all can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Grimm1128, GRIMM1128. Jonathan,
At Jonathan M. Holder, come by, say hi. Don't forget to hit that subscribe and the like button.
there you go. Toby D.
Toby D 1991.
That's it. Hopefully, we'll be talking about a Bucks win, or not a Bucks win, a Falcons win over the Bucks. A Bucks,
Oh, JR, you might have got us then, man.
well, so
Uh,
maybe I can do some reverse psychology.
all the subscriptions that were coming in. You
They
just
just
undid.
went.
You undid them.
Undid them. Oh, the folly. Either way, we appreciate y'all, and as always, Falcons fans, rise up.
Rise up.
Rise up.